we are the real economy in every community. We provide physical jobs with physical connections in great teams.
I'm the MA's Ed Bedington, and this is the Review of the Week. Hello and welcome to the MA's Review of the Week. I have the wonderful Steve Alton from the BII with me this morning. So, Steve, how are you?
All good, Ed. Keeping cool, trying not to melt, as we all are.
You had the licensee of the year. Let's just start with that. How did that go? And what about your winners there?
Yeah, look, absolutely fantastic. We're so blessed. We had over 800 applicants for that award, and we put them through the mill. But it's a development process, so we try to give them much insight about their business from completely different perspectives, from social media audits, finance audits, mystery shopper, and then we do field visits from award-winning chef and a front of house operator, and then we put them through the Dragon's Den the day before our summer event just to really raise the tension. But they get great feedback and they respond so well. But the 6 finalists were phenomenal, a great group. We're strangers at 10 o'clock in the morning on Monday. By the end of the summer event, I think lifelong friends already, all in touch, all going to be visiting each other. But the ultimate winners were the amazing Eamon and Arena at Windsor Castle, and it was a real privilege to go and see them at their pub this week as well in the sweltering heat. But what a great pub. And again, it shows you transforming a really tired and beaten old pub into a real hub of the community. Went to the cottage garden, seeing the pictures of the locals on the wall, the heritage that place connects to, but it's them that make the difference as ever. But brilliant operators and lovely to see them. And they're going to be doing so much with us this year. I think they're going to be fantastic spokespeople, particularly because they're not from the trade. You've got somebody that's been in the music business and somebody been in the property business, and they're just bringing this passion for pubs and a fresh perspective, and just shows, you can have great success in our sector.
Absolutely. So we're talking about the week's events. The King is dead. Long live the King. It's been an interesting week in Westminster. What's your take on things, Steve?
No, it has. We've been in Westminster this week, so I've had a couple of meetings with ministers, which was encouraging on one level in terms of the importance of our sector around youth employment, that first job, which we all know, but that resonance is there, particularly with the Milburn report that's been published and showing this structural problem with disengaged young people, and we can be that solution. And unlike tech and AI, that respectfully is pretty borderless, and who knows where that's going to go, we are the real economy in every community. We provide physical jobs with physical connections in great teams. So that was good to hear. There's a recognition of that. And also that we are foundational behind the high streets and communities regeneration as well, which again, we all know, but it's good to hear government recognising the true value, because without hospitality, you don't have communities and high streets and towns and cities, and that vibrancy, and importantly, that community connection that we provide so uniquely. So it's good to hear that. Obviously, there's going to be some changes, and we're going to have to work really hard. But the one thing that we need to make sure we do as a sector is the "That's the Problem" campaign. If it's who we think it's going to be for our Prime Minister, unchallenged, and whatever the configuration of the cabinet looks like, we need to make sure that we land with real impact on day one and show him collectively our voices aligned around what we can enable. Let's be really clear that, that's the problem, is about fairness. It's about a fair tax regime. It's not a handout. It's just about reducing that cumulative burden. And it's doing what we do brilliantly, which is employing people in every community, particularly young people, first job, put our arms around them, develop them, make them, work wise, hopefully in careers in our space, but we put a lot of people into other pathways as well, and be at the heart of those communities. But we need to see good words, particularly from our friend that we believe is going to become Prime Minister. He's been very positive towards the sector around VAT, recognition of business rates, and he's seen through his own work in Manchester what happens if you create a really open, inclusive environment and allow us to get on with it without barriers in the way. But at the heart of that, we don't need initiatives. We just need to pay less tax, have more resilience in the business, we'll employ more people, invest in our venues, and we'll grow. And that's what they want.
Absolutely. So no handouts, just a fair share of the tax burden. Speaking of which, the VAT campaign, that's the problem. It's past 250,000 signatures, I think.
Yes.
How's that going, and where next?
It's going really well. I still feel that we need to make sure every operator, it's not just the operators, which is key, but it's their teams. And it's when their teams go home that if it's mum, dad, partners, family, friends, they get engaged as well with this call for fairness to back their job that they feel so passionate about. And then the key part is next week from the 1st of July, it's all about customers and getting them on board to really lean in and help. And we've got on the That's the Problem website, there's a shop there. There's digital assets, so you can print things out locally, so posters or beer mats or table talkers, or there's actually a cost version to get that stuff printed and shipped directly to you to put out in your pub. But it's a real call to arms now. We have to make our collective voices and our stakeholders really heard. We have one chance, Ed. We absolutely have one chance. But if it's Andy Burnham is our new Prime Minister, and when he sits in number 10, one of the first things that we need him to see is that collective pressure and the opportunity that we provide. This is not about, it's not a negative position. We're asking for a handout. It's about, we're here to enable what we believe to be where you want to take this country, and we're at the heart of that.
Absolutely. We can't have you on, Steve, and not talk about cycling, can we? Pedaling for pubs, you've hit a total, I believe, and there's been a bit of action there. Tell us about that. How did it go, and how much have you raised?
Yeah, look, so proud of the team. Over 60 riders, an amazing support team that we couldn't do without, all volunteers from our sector, and we've raised now over £130,000, which is a phenomenal amount. Again, it's getting bigger every single year, and this is from grassroots publicans, it's brewers, it's technologists, it's licensing lawyers, and everything in between. It's an incredible group that are so passionate about the work of Only a Pavement Away and the Licensed Trade Charity. So we had two treats this week, but I think brilliant recognition of the team. So we went into Westminster with Tonya Antonazzi, MP, who's also the chair of the All Party Beer Group, who also I managed to get her onto the ride to join us, and she's a fabulous part of and understands and felt the community that we are. So we did a check presentation and went out on the terrace and had a drink in Westminster, which is fantastic. And as importantly, yesterday she raised a question in the House on the floor to add her thanks and congratulations to the Bedington Pubs team, which was obviously acknowledged and mirrored in the House of Commons, which so I already knew my community were absolute legends. Now they are immortalised in Hansard forever. So just brilliant, but that's down to their passion, their energy, and that's what our sector does. They're a representation of our sector, despite the challenges, and we get pretty beaten by this fortunately, barriers and tax and all these things. Despite all that, we still go out every single day and help other people and connect in our communities, and what a great example. So they should all be incredibly proud of themselves.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, we're out of time, Steve, but thank you very much for those thoughts.
Thank you, Ed.
There you go. Some positives there, and don't forget, back the problem campaign. We need to get as many signatures as possible, so get the word out amongst your customers, get those signatures in. We will be back hopefully when it's slightly less hot next week. So in the meantime, try and enjoy the heat, keep pulling those pints.